Hi guys, welcome to the Resilient Lounge podcast. With me today I have Alexandra Chirica. Alex, hi.
Hi.
Was that right?
Yes, that was right.
Yeah, so I thought it was Chirica, but it's Chirica.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think I told you before I get Shakira, chorizo. Like there's so many alternatives. It's fine.
You actually posted that, I think, on your Instagram the other day, and you were saying that how many people get your name wrong. Oh, because you were on a podcast in a car.
Yeah.
That was so cool. Alex, how did you get into recruitment and the niche of financial crime?
It's a really boring story because everyone just falls into recruitment.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's anyone's first choice. Like you're 12 years old thinking I'm so passionate about becoming a recruiter. But I had just graduated. I went traveling. And
what did you study?
English literature.
Okay.
So I always wanted to go into law. And I thought rather than studying law, I wanted to do a law conversion. And then by the time I graduated, I was like, yeah, absolutely not. I'm not going into law. And
did you study here in the UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to Warwick and then did that. That was fun. And spent the summer traveling right after graduating. And then my dad came up to me and said, like, when are you going to get a job? Why are you not employed? I'm like, Dad, do you know people spend 6 months after graduating getting a job? It's not that easy.
Yeah.
And because I was stubborn, I just said, all right, I'll go get a job. And then 3 days later, I got a job at Aston Carter. And the only vacancy they had was in their contract team doing compliance. But the reason I like them so much is because I wanted to go into law, because I watched Suits.
Okay. I'm actually watching Suits again, and I'm on season 4.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. So when I walked into the offices, it was very much like everyone was dressed professionally or immaculate. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I'm here for this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was attracted to it and started there.
So do you think that because you had finished law, getting into the niche of financial crime recruitment helped you understand it better?
Oh, no, because I did English lit. I wanted to go into law.
Oh, okay.
So you can do like a law conversion. But no, I didn't even know what compliance or financial crime was. Okay. I had absolutely no idea. And they don't really tell you the subject matter. Like when you do recruitment, they don't really educate you
on the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
So the advice that I got was learn about the industry from your candidates. Like,
yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're not going to, okay.
You basically learn on the job.
Yeah.
If you don't have anyone supervising you, as well as recruitment, it is a lot of self-education. Even if you do have people like teaching you this, that, the other, you learn better from actually candidates.
Absolutely.
And your clients too, because every client does work differently. So one fin crime department can be completely different to another company and how they probably work and everything. Even though the regulations and everything is the same, I do believe you learn way better from clients and candidates rather than textbook solely.
Oh God, yeah. I focused more on candidates just because I think I was too nervous to go to a client and ask them about financial crime, because then they're going to be like, why the hell are we even using this person if she's asking me questions about what we're meant to be hiring? But the candidates are so lovely. It's one of my favorite industries. They're just so nice.
So how long were you doing that for? How long were you working for someone?
3 years.
3 years.
In total.
And then you ventured off to start up your own recruitment agency called Tail.
Yes.
What inspired you to do that?
So I've never actually mentioned this before, only in the first year or so, but it was actually a guy called Harry Brooker who sent me a message on LinkedIn, and he did medical recruitment in the US. So he dropped me a message saying, oh, I've seen some of your stuff online. Like it'd be really cool to chat about working together. And I remember reading the message. I was like, why? You do medical recruitment. This is never going to work. But thank you so much for getting in touch. And then he comes back to me saying, no, like you do your thing. We can set up a business together. I was like, this guy is on crack. I don't know this man. What do you mean? So then we jumped on a call together, and he was 25 at the time, and he's already had his own agency for 5 years. But
Where was he based? In the US?
No, Derby.
Okay, so the UK.
Yeah, in the UK, but it was COVID. So I could never meet him.
2020.
2020. He just said, I'll pay you 3 months up front on a salary. We'll do the rebrand together. We'll do all of this together. I was like, you're insane, first of all. You don't know me, and yet you're trusting me with this.
Yeah.
And I was insane because I said, yeah, why not? Screw it. Let's just go for it. I think it was pretty risk adverse because I just had this guy who wanted to work with me, even though he did a completely different sector. So then that's how Teo started.
Basically, this guy was your co-founder?
Yeah, at the time.
Okay.
But I guess I heavily influenced Teo.
As if it's just your own.
Yeah, it was like, it was very much me. And then for poor Harry, the brand didn't really work for medical recruitment because I think medical recruitment is just a little bit more old school and traditional. So having this like new brand that's very fintechy and quite, it just didn't work. So then he set up a different one, but we get along completely well. It was just quite natural that it didn't work.
Yeah. How was that for you though? Because you were in a comfortable job for 3 years and you were getting an income and you knew what your commissions were going to be month after month after month.
Yeah.
So that was a big risk you took. Have you ever sat down and realized like what you did? Because you went into business with someone you never met.
Which in hindsight actually sounds insane.
It actually didn't work out either, but because you were clever enough to do your whole fintech stuff and your branding and everything, it worked out.
Yeah.
Like, you have been goddamn lucky.
I think it was my parents really who just said, yeah, just go for it. Because I was 24, I was living with my parents. I had the 3-month salary buffer that he gave me as well. And I didn't have overheads. Like, I wasn't paying rent or anything like that. And my parents
Did you have a business plan?
What was that?
Okay.
What is a business plan? It was just, screw it, let's just do it. It was like, we've got a name. And to be fair, I don't think it's that hard to start a recruitment business.
Yeah.
If you've got LinkedIn and you have a phone and you've got your personal brand.
As well as like where you want the company to go.
That's
like, let's
very
say if
fair.
you want a lifestyle kind of recruitment agency, fine, okay. But if you want to do a business, scale it, exit.
Absolutely.
I guess a business plan would be great.
Absolutely. But you still have to start from that ground zero sort of lifestyle business side. And I did start Tail with the intention to grow it, hire people.
Yeah.
And then about 9 months into it, I realized I'm not going to change recruitment by adding another recruitment business to the 50,000 that exist. It was just like this niggle at the back of my head.
So what differentiates you then?
As a recruitment business or?
Yeah, to what you've just said, you're not going to add to another 50,000 recruitment businesses. Is it because you want to stay more lifestyle?
No, it was, I had to think and see if I wanted to make an impact on recruitment, I won't make an impact by adding another agency. I have to do something different, which is where the Recfindr idea came into play.
Yes.
So
before we get to that,
that's
before
fine.
we get to that, because I love how obviously you branded Tail and the face of Tail is you. And even when I say Tail, I already remember the colors of your brand and the funny go lucky like girl kind of thing. So you say Tail and then it's Alexandra behind it, right? But I want to get to know Alexandra better, right?
Okay.
And in my little questions here, what challenges did you face while you were setting up?
So challenges wise, the biggest one was when you're in a business, you're working for a company, you have career progression. You have a path that you can grow into and you've got everything set up for you to succeed.
Yeah.
And then it's your business in a business. Like you've got a trajectory that you can follow. And then all of a sudden, I wasn't in that anymore. And I'm looking at a white blank piece of paper and I don't have a trajectory. I don't have a path. I don't know what direction. You could go in all the different directions. And that is really overwhelming. Like you can go into 7 different directions until you realize, okay, this is the one that I should go down on. And then it's not like there's no promotion.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. There's no, you have to make up your own metrics to what you think is appropriate for you. I guess it's a challenge because it's overwhelming, but it can also be really exciting.
Do you think you've learned more building a business on your own than you ever did working for 3 years for someone else?
Oh my God. Because you get a whole view of the business. Like when I was just at my own desk and doing my own thing.
Every day of the same thing.
Yeah, you're just a component of that business. You're not thinking about the business as a whole. And that was really cool to see. Like on paper, I can't actually tell you what I've learned.
Yeah.
But if you put me in front of a situation, it's okay. Yeah.
You think on your feet now, much faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
If shit hits the fan, I'm sure you know how to like...
Oh, you don't have a choice.
Yes.
You can't just delegate it to someone. Like you have to do it yourself. Like I had a legal issue and then I thought, okay, where do I go?
Oh,
Who do I
really?
speak to? Yeah, it was a situation where a client didn't want to pay.
Oh,
And I could have left
typical.
Typical. And I thought, I'm a small business. I can't afford to not get paid. So then you have to figure out, okay, what lawyer do I have to speak to? What is this even called in law terms when someone doesn't want to pay you? And you just learn throughout the process.
Did you have any support while setting up on your own?
Mum and dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet. I also see you have a brother.
I do.
Yeah, we follow you here on... You seem very close with your brother.
Yeah.
And I love that. I have a little brother as well.
How old is he?
He's 21. Or he's 22.
I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but what's the age gap?
Oh, I'm 34 and there's a huge
Same.
gap.
I've got like nearly 11-year difference.
We're 13, I think. Yeah, 13.
How do you find it?
It's a huge gap, right?
Yeah.
So he's obviously growing. I've done my growth from my 20s, but he obviously sees me doing my stuff and he wants to be that and everything. So this is where I was going to come. Does he like look up to you a lot? Or is he just your...
No, he does. He does.
Oh,
He really does. And it's sweet to see because when he was younger, like 12, 13, he was just a pain in the butt like any other sibling was going to be. And then one thing I never realized though, even when I was 20, was actually how much he looked up to me.
Yeah.
And now that he is 18, we've got really close relationships. So he does open up to me about stuff and tells me that he does look up to me. And it's...
Let me ask you though,
cute.
if your brother came to you and asked you, or told you, didn't ask you, I'm going to set up a business on my own.
Yeah.
You were what, 24?
Yeah, 24.
He's now what?
18.
All right. So let's say he comes in a few years and says, look, I'm going to set up on my own. What would your advice be?
Oh, good question. Oh my God. My advice. The first thing in my head was a question, actually. What would it be?
Alex, I'm going to set up on my own. What would you say to him?
I would say...
It hits different when you love someone.
Yeah.
That advice. It's different to give advice to your best friend.
Yeah.
It's different when it comes to your siblings.
I would say to him, brainstorm it and then plan it. Even if that plan doesn't go to plan, just have it there and have a 3-year plan and really think it through in as much detail as you possibly can. That's what I would say. And I'll probably sit there and help him with it as well.
Bless, You obviously you couldn't look into a crystal ball and see if Tail was going to succeed or failed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see yourself or even say to yourself, if this fails, I will go back into the workplace? Or were you like, this is going to succeed, so I can never go back into the workplace?
I think it depends, like, what you mean by success. And I think for me, it was successful because I didn't have any fears about it. Because when you look at contingent recruitment,
right,
what is there to be scared about with contingent recruitment? Because you get paid after you've delivered.
right,
So you've earned that, right? And for me, success would be, can I cover my lifestyle? Do I have freedom? And do I have time? That was my benchmark. That was it. So for me, yeah, it was successful. And there were moments, because I've still got friends in agency, where I would say, oh, I'd really love to have a team. Like, you must really enjoy your job. Like, you get the office banter. You get to see them all the time.
Yeah.
So the grass is always greener. And then they would come back to me, yeah, but Alex, you've got flexibility, you can do what you want, you can work with whatever clients you want, you can do whatever. And I think I was attracted to potentially going back to an agency because you think about how much you could do if you had a foundation of a business who can fund it into you. If you have a crazy marketing idea, you can just go and do it. Yeah. But my role would be completely different if I wouldn't do recruitment anymore. I'd have a completely different role if I went back to somewhere else.
Yeah. Makes sense. Completely. I think you'd probably be like, look, I'm the CEO of this place now. You can resign. I'm coming through.
Sorry, it's a takeover.
So, Recfindr. Walk me through this. What is it? How the hell did you think about this?
So it's a platform for hiring managers, startups to go and match with the right relevant recruiter in the area that they specialize in. And the recruiter can only specialize in 3 subsectors max. So you're limited to what you can have on your profile. And the idea came up, I still remember it, 14th of February, 2021.
Okay, so that long ago.
Yeah, that's when it came up. And it was on a Sunday, and it was also the week that Bumble IPO'd. So I must have clearly had it in my head about something to do with matching. And because I had been working with fintechs, the main problem I was having, and you probably get this as well, but you get candidates coming to you saying, oh, I work in this area, can you help me? And you're like, no, because if you read my profile, you'd see that I don't do your sector.
Right.
And then you probably can't help them.
Yep.
Or if a client comes to you and says, hey, April, can you help me with this role? And you're like, no, because that's not my area of expertise. So then rather than letting that client down, I would go and research and be like, okay, who can I put you in touch with so I can still help you with this? And then you go to Google and type in like, how do I find a recruiter? And there's no simple solution. You get articles from Hayes, you get articles from Indeed and all of that to give you a 10-step guide on how to find a recruiter. Right. But there's no actual solution. There's no marketplace. And LinkedIn is too saturated for that to be it. So then I thought about Recfindr.
So basically you're a matchmaker for recruiters and candidates to meet. And hiring managers, Yeah. That's a great idea. You basically found a gap in the market and you went for it. Like,
this one was a little bit more risky, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I need to check in with your risk factors basically, because you basically, I'm not going to say you don't give a shit. You do clearly give a shit. But there are people who don't mind taking risks, calculated risks or whatever risks. But you just seem that you're a go-getter, and if it's going to work, it's going to work. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I think you have to. Don't get me wrong. When I had this idea in 2021, I didn't just jump on it immediately. I took 6 months and slept on it. Like, I parked it. And then I had it in the back of my head. It's a really bad example to give, but have you ever been shopping and thought, oh, I really like that top or whatever, and then it's still on your mind a couple of days later? And if it's still on your mind, you're going to go buy it.
Exactly.
If it's not, you've forgotten about it. It's really not that important.
It's because it was meant to be. It kept coming into your mind. It kept
coming back. Yeah. And all I had in my head was, if I get to 70, am I going to regret, or am I going to have it at the back of my head saying, what if I did do that?
I love that.
And I hate having a what if at the back of my head. So worst case scenario, doesn't work. All right, cool. Can go and do something else. I would have learned so much. If it does work, great. You've built something of value.
I love that. I love the way you think. So being your own boss, right?
Yeah.
What scares you the most?
Not delivering to my client base. I think that's I say scary in that you don't want to disappoint your clients, but that's just really fuel to make sure that you don't. I guess it's different when someone pays you up front for a service and then they're looking to get an ROI off of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I never really had that in recruitment because I've already delivered it to you. It's like you flipped it around. I think recruitment is the only sector where you do the job for free until it's done.
And then you get paid 14 days later, or maybe even
14 after the rebate period or whatever. Someone
exactly that.
It's ages.
But the game is changing with retained work.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I love. But it's basically trying to teach every single business around the world, how retained work works.
Yeah.
And I think retained business can only be successful if nearly every recruitment agency started doing it. Because if someone is working contingent recruitment or any other type kind of thing, or 10% fees, like the lowest fees or whatever, then why am I going to go with someone who does retained?
Absolutely. But I think it's about the value that you put on yourself, because I think the first client that I accepted with Tail, I took 12%.
Okay.
And then after that, I was like, what the hell am I doing? This is not okay. But it's because I didn't understand the value.
What do you usually charge?
Now, or not anymore because I don't do Tail anymore, but it got to 20 to 25.
Okay.
And then retainers as well. It sounds really bad, but I got bored of selling retainers and contingent. It just wasn't challenging for me anymore.
So you thought, let me open up and do Recfindr instead?
Yeah, let's just open a tech business. Sure, why not?
So what did you end up doing with Tail then? Did you sell it?
No. It's a very difficult business to sell because it's very much my brand.
Okay.
So I'm still not using it, but I still have recruitment knowledge. I still know about financial crime. I am still very much part of that fintech world. So I'm happy to use it as a vehicle to still bring people in and then introduce them to Recfindr that way. So I'm not doing the recruitment side anymore.
You're focusing more on Recfindr.
Yes.
Like 100% of you is on that.
Yeah, you have to.
And I love that. You have, the way you have branded Tail, which people remember it. And even if I close my eyes, I remember all the colors, like the yellow, the pink.
The colors are so important.
Yes, exactly. And you've done the same for Recfindr, the little R, the little ball. And it's so important. And I want to talk a little bit about personal branding. And I love it generally. Put yourself out there and you will get business, right?
Yeah.
Be it LinkedIn, be it Instagram, whatever, but just know your platform. You look like a very confident person online. I don't know what happens behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
But even your energy as well, I can feel it. You are a confident person.
Thank you.
But you're also very sensitive. I can also feel that too. So what guidance, advice would you give to people to have more confidence online?
It's a deep question, really.
Let me break it down for you. Someone wants to start their personal branding, but they have a fear of what people are going to say, what they're going to comment, this, that, the other. So what advice would you give to people? Because online, you're very out there. You're spinning your head around and you're doing crazy
Please
stuff.
don't remind me because I don't look at these back.
Your coffee's spilling everywhere.
I don't want to know.
You're really out there.
Yeah.
Love it. So what advice would you give to people to maybe have confidence?
First thing I'd say is have a chat with your ego.
Okay.
That's the first thing I'd say, because no one cares in general. No one actually cares about what post you put out on LinkedIn. You're the only one that really cares. Oh my God, is this going to get likes? Is this going to get engagement? What are people going to think? And when you sit back and think, how much is my ego leading me? Or like, how self-absorbed do I have to think that the world is going to give a shit about my LinkedIn post or what I post out there? They're really not, because they're busy about their work. They care about their day. They care about them, right? Once you get out of your own way and your ego is in your own way, no one really cares. And it sounds really negative, but it's not, because it gives you so much freedom.
And then it gives you confidence.
And it gives you confidence when you realize that. And then when you put it in your shoes, who's gonna give a crap?
Exactly.
What I post on my LinkedIn, people can either get value from it or they don't.
Yeah.
But if one person gets value from it, I've won. That was it.
I love that. I love that advice you gave. And I feel a lot of people need to start building their personal brands on LinkedIn as well. Generally, find your platform and be you and do it. Yes, we're in a day and age where everyone wants to become an influencer and everything. What I'm saying is, do not become an influencer where you're just doing fashion and all of that. You can, but make sure that everything you do is basically intentional and you get business from it too.
It has to be thought out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna stop posting bikini pictures on LinkedIn.
Right, exactly.
Like, I'm not, No, absolutely not. And I'm not just going to post a selfie every single day with a motivational quote, unless there's a story behind that motivational quote. I think the other day I posted about Hamilton.
Okay. I didn't see this story. I didn't see it.
That's because I love Hamilton and I love the show and I think it's great. But I use that as a reference for a point that I wanted to make in recruitment. So you do have to think about it. Like you can't just
be intentional with what you're
don't
posting.
Post your breakfast on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Love that. Alex, I want to thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Thank you for having me.
I do want to speak to you again when Recfindr will IPO. It will, because it's such a well thought and very different kind of platform out there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We will speak again in about 4 or 5 years when you IPO.
I'll have grey hairs with all the stress fine. By then.
We could dye it for you. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.